Eliza had always been intrigued by the old forest on the edge of her small town of Marnville. It was said to be haunted by an old legend, one that sent shivers down the spine of even the bravest souls. On a chilly October evening, her curiosity got the better of her, and she ventured into the woods alone, carrying nothing but a flashlight and a sense of naive bravado. The moonlight barely pierced through the dense canopy of ancient trees, casting menacing shadows in every direction. The deeper she went, the quieter it became. Not even the usual night sounds of crickets or owls could be heard. It was as if the forest held its breath. A cold draft tugged at her jacket, making her clutch it tighter around herself. Her steps broke the eerie silence, each crunch of leaves sounding like a warning. Then she heard it, a melodic, haunting whistle that sent chills racing down her spine. Eliza stopped in her tracks, her breath hitching. She spun around, pointing her flashlight frantically, but the beam only revealed more darkness and twisted branches. The whistling grew louder, more insistent, seeming to come from everywhere and nowhere all at once. "Hello? Who's there?" she called out, her voice wavering. But only silence answered. Panic set in as the air grew colder. She quickened her pace, her eyes darting around for any sign of movement. The whistling followed, always a few steps behind. Suddenly, she stumbled upon an old cabin, half hidden by overgrown ivy and decay. It seemed abandoned, but it was her only shelter. With shaking hands, she pushed the creaky door open and slipped inside. The cabin was even more foreboding on the inside. Cobwebs hung like thick curtains, and the air was heavy with the scent of mildew. In the corner, an old gramophone sat covered in dust. As she stepped closer, the haunting whistle came back, clearer this time, emanating from the gramophone. The record was spinning on its own, though no one was there to crank it. Eliza felt her chest tighten as she realized she wasn't alone. A cold breath brushed against her ear, and a whisper followed, "Leave while you still can." She bolted from the cabin, not daring to look back. The whistling transformed into frantic, discordant chimes chasing her through the forest. She ran until her legs could carry her no more. Collapsing at the edge of the woods, she glanced back only once to see a dark silhouette standing at the tree line, watching. It blew one final note before vanishing into the shadows. When the townsfolk found her the next morning, Eliza could barely speak. The once fearless girl was now silent, her eyes reflecting the terror of the night's events. She never spoke of the whistling in the woods again.